Now, the Knack may have had My Sharona as their only hit, but it relies heavily on the bass, and it relies heavily on those drums and bass linking together. And the riff is octave Gs, so you got 3 on E string here, and 5th fret on the D string. So it slides from the F sharp from the 2nd fret onto the G. Like that. Now, because it's just using these 2 notes, feel free to use your first and last fingers because the frets are quite wide down here. Now, Logan's going to help us out on iOS GarageBand with just keeping a nice solid drum beat so that we can practice how that line is rhythmically delivered. Rhythm is really important with a riff like this. If it goes, it's just not going to cut it. It has to really work with this drum beat. So there is some sort of drum beat there with because it's on the toms on the beginning of the record. So you can hear the 8th notes there, and that's what you really want to be listening out for, because you have 8th notes in your bass riff. Always break it down to that lowest common denominator. If it's 16ths, then think in terms of all of the bar being 16ths. Instead of just some of it. So with My Sharona, we're counting in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and always think in those terms. So if I just go from the, I'm just going to give 1 bar count in. 2, 3, 4. Just really sit at a low tempo, just getting that line right. So all the 8th note complexity is actually in the middle of that riff. It's so. And that's what makes those sort of 8th notes really work, is that the riff is really punchy at the start. And getting those quarter notes as they are, it really helps. I'm also using the bridge pickup. I mean, if you want a Fender Precision, just move your right hand down towards the bridge a little bit, and you can get a really punchy sound as opposed to. Now, plucking across 2 strings can be hard. You sort of feel your hand being stretched. So the traditional quavers, 8th notes, being played by alternate fingers, tends to fly out the window a little bit here, because you've got to actually play. So sometimes you might have to try and make it so that your fingers are actually. You can use your thumb in these situations as well, but you've got to make sure that you are A, consistent with what you do, and B, make sure that you slow Logan down so that you can try those riffs out, so you can try those right hand techniques out really slowly with the drum kit. So yeah, that's 70 will do. You've also got that slide, like that. A bit distorted there. And to get that riff really, really solid with a drummer, just the whole thing will just work. I mean, in the verse, I'm a little pretty one, pretty one. It's just drums, bass and vocals, pretty much. And then just the guitar. My Sharona. So it's really important to get that bass riff really, really tight.